Hello and welcome again. This is the second video of the series of lectures about the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange. In the last video, I talked about the general protocol for the key exchange, and so now I'm going to give you an example using small numbers. So we're going to use small numbers and see how this is done. So we need the public parameters first, which is the prime p, which is a prime number, and alpha, which would be a generator for ZP star. Now, the only thing you have to remember from this, if you are not didn't watch the discrete log series of videos, is that this alpha is a special element between 2 and p minus 2. All right, so let's say for this example, let's say that the public parameters here are the prime 71. The group dense Z71 star will be all the numbers from 1 to 70, 1 to p minus 1. And I'm choosing alpha here to be 7. Now 7 here is a generator of this group. In this case, we can double check that. So what we do is we publish those two numbers. We publish the prime p and the generator as 7. So this is public, so everybody knows what these numbers are. So of course it's public. So let's see how Alice and Bob go about doing the key exchange using the Diffie-Hellman protocol. So what we're going to do is, as we did in general case, you're going to choose a random number between 2 and 69 in this case, which is p minus 2. Is always between 2 and p minus 2. Now this is 69 because our number is 71. And Bob is going to do exactly the same thing. Choose a random number there between 2 and 69. So we are calling the number that Alice chooses A. So I'm going to choose a random number. Let's say A. Just for the example, let's suppose we choose, let's say, 49. Now Bob is going to do the same thing. So Bob is going to choose a number, random number, between 2 and 69. Let's say in this case that Bob chooses, let's say, for example, 13. So one that is done. So we've done here this part, choosing the number. Now this is done independently, so nobody sees this choice of A and B. So these are actually just secrets. Only Alice knows the number A, and only Bob knows number B. Not even Alice knows the number B of A. So that's the purpose of the whole thing here. These are the secret numbers. So now what Alice has to do, because Alice of course knows the parameters, the public parameters P and alpha, she's gonna do a model exponentiation. She's gonna take alpha to the number that she chose. So it's gonna be 7 to the 49, and that's gonna be modulo the prime, which is also public, which is in this case called 71. So that's what she does. She does that on her side, and she's gonna get, if you actually go ahead and compute this, as do the division. Of course, you will need a calculator or computer to do this, because this exponent here, 49, is too big. So you're gonna do that, and you're gonna get 17. Okay, so that's the number that Alice gets. Now, Bob is gonna do the same, but with the number that he chose. So it's gonna take alpha, which is in this case 7. So it's gonna be 7 to whatever number he chose, which is 13. And that's going to be modulo whatever the prime number is, which is public, and that's modulo 71. So he is getting a number 28. You can also double check that. Okay, so right now we are done with this. Now this number 17 that is here, that is part of what Alice did, this is the number what we call A, and this number 28 is the number that we call B. Now what Alice is going to do is going to send that number to Bob, and Bob is going to send the number B to Alice. So let me just put it over here. So let's say I have Alice has the number 17. It's going to send that to Bob, and so Bob gets it. And anyone who is listening to that channel will see that number, will see the number 17. And that's of course the number A that I just show you there. So that's just the number A. So this is the number A, and that's the number A. Now Bob sends A. This is the number A here. Now Bob is gonna send his number, which is the number B, and in this case the number that he got was a 28, so it's gonna have 28 here. He sends that to the channel, and Alice gets that number 28 there. That is the number B that he computed. So this is the number B. It's B and B. Alright, so what does Alice gonna do? Well, Alice is not gonna do her exponentiation with A. He's gonna do it with whatever Bob sent. So she's gonna take this number that is here, which is 28, and raise it to the number that she chose at random here between 2 and 69. So she's gonna do 28. So this is now on the side of Alice. So Alice is gonna do 28 to the number that she chose. It was 49, and this is all, of course, modulo the prime number, which is 71 here. Now, if you go ahead and do that division, this is gonna give you 14. Now, Bob is gonna do something similar. So Bob is gonna take the number that Alice sent to him and do the exponentiation with the exponent that he chose, which in this case was 13. So he's gonna do this. He's gonna do 17 to the 13 modulo the prime. So 17 to the 13 modulo the prime number, and in this case the prime number is 71. If you actually go ahead and compute that, that's also gonna give you 14. So 14 is the key. So 14 is the shared key. Is the shared key. Okay, 14, or the shared key, was never sent through the channel. The only thing that was sent through the channel was the number 17 that Alice created and the number 28 that Bob created. Now, if some attacker is listening to this channel, she or he will get these two numbers. But if the number prime P is carefully chosen and alpha as a generator, that will be okay. So this will not be enough information to actually get the private key. Of course, in this particular example, because the number here are very small, then if you actually get 17 and 28, you can easily compute the key. And I'll explain that later in a later video. But this is just an example. In real life, of course, you're not gonna use these small numbers to do the key exchange. So this is just an example. So you see, we got the same number, 14, which is the point. Then each one of them would get the same number, and they still have to keep private their A and the B. They don't have to change, send that through the channel. All right, so that's the example with the small numbers. Now let's look at some remarks here that are important. Now, for the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange, you have to generate a prime number and of course choose a alpha, a number which is a generator, or a number between 2 and p-2, which has a special property. So to generate the prime number P, we use probabilistic prime finding algorithms, the ones we saw in previous videos about finding large primes. So that's one of the things you need to do. Either Bob or a third party will have to do this generation of that prime. Now, because we want this to be secure, as I mentioned, if the number prime is small, then you can actually compute the private key without just listening to the channel there. So right now, it is advised that the prime P should have 2024-bit length or more to provide strong security for this key exchange. So the numbers that we saw here in the beginning of this video, they're just really bad. So it can actually be easily computed in a matter of seconds, the private key. Now the common key here will have the same bit length as P, so we'll have at least 1024 by today's standards. So it will be a large number here. Now, the thing is, the key that they exchange, sometimes what they do is they usually use it for asymmetric key algorithms. But see, the key here is kind of long. So let's say you want to use it for the advanced encryption standard, which is a symmetric cipher. So what you do is you still interchange the key, but you're gonna take, let's say you're gonna use a key of 128-bit length. So what you do is you agree on the key, and then you just take the first 128 bits of that key to use it for symmetric cipher. Now, when Alice and Bob, when they choose their numbers A and B for themselves, which is these two numbers A and B are private, they should use a true random number generator to generate these private keys A and B. It's important because you don't want the attacker to guess in any way what are the A and B, because if the attacker knows either A or B, that's it, game is over. So the private key could be computed easily. So that's the point of all this. Now, these are some remarks about the Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange. In the next video, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk a little bit about the security of Diffie-Hellman Key Exchange and how the discrete logarithm problem is related strongly to this key exchange. So I'll stop the video now, and I will see you in the next video.